let's go.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, incoming.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Omnic Lab. We're a podcast that focuses on the strategy in the game of Overwatch. We are fresh, hot out of Blizzcon, and just like always on our show, we're ready to help you through trial and error in the lab, even if things get a little crazy each week and maybe sometimes blow up in our own faces, especially with all this news surrounding our brand new hero coming out. So we're going to help you brew up some team comp, some strategies, stir in some tips to maybe help play better, talk about some news, and hopefully equip you with some instruments that you can use in lab. So I'm your host, Rob May. This is episode number 28. We're talking BlizzCon. We're talking menu updates and even arcade modes and Sombra. And joining me is Andres Gomez. What's up, Andres?
What's up, Rob? Glad to be here as always, and super excited to talk about all of the news. There was so much going on this weekend, as always, in BlizzCon. I haven't even been able to finish catching up with all of the different panels and stuff. Been trying to watch a lot of the matches and all of the Overwatch stuff, but ton of content, ton to talk about.
I am so glad in some respects that we didn't go, because I was talking with my wife about BlizzCon. I was like, man, look at this schedule. Look at this schedule. If you even like 2 games, you are screwed. You are missing 8 times as many content as the stuff you can actually look at while you're there.
Yeah, that's true. It's a very tight schedule. I can only imagine like over there, you really have to like pick what you really are interested in and just go for that, because I cannot imagine like making very much of those events.
Like, what are you doing in the merch line? You know what I mean? Like, the merch line is one of the longest things I've heard at BlizzCon, and you're simultaneously missing like 8 events that are all planned jam-packed into 2 days.
Yeah, order
just to
stuff
get that
online.
little
That's
murky
true.
plushie.
I do hope that one day we make it to BlizzCon and meet all the awesome people that are over there. That would be really exciting. Or just like actually seeing the players play on stage, that awesome stage. Man, the Overwatch stage looked nuts. It was so cool. It looked so like cool. Freaking Sports Center or something like that.
Yeah, luckily we had one of our patrons. I can never say his name right. It's like Roush or something like that. I played with him a couple times, but he was sitting on like a couple rows back from the stage, and he's like, "It's so cool." So we were tossing around some ideas. We're like, "Well, we have it as a Patreon goal, but it's one of the top tier ones just to send one of us to get there, because round trip from Japan is pretty nuts." So
it is pretty expensive. We're not gonna lie.
But it's definitely one of our future goals, so why not put it in there? So we did. Mm-hmm. But today we're going to talk about what happened at 2016 BlizzCon. We're going to talk Sombra, and we're going to talk arcade modes, and even we have 2 new maps that are coming. But normally we would take this time to talk about our competitive mode update, where we're at. I'm just going to say one thing. I posted a little link on my plays.tv. Really proud of this. I switched from playing on for an entire like double round on Volskaya attack.
Yeah.
And like this is literally the last 30 seconds to a minute of the game, and I swapped to Mercy. I was like, you know what? I want to win. It's a comfort pick. I'm with a 4 stack of players. Let's try it. So I ran in there, and I don't know how else to say it than just watch the clip, because I solo killed a Reinhardt and then ran around a line of sight of the Zarya that was at half the health. She pops around the corner and I kill her too. So I was basically in a 2v1 as a support and somehow killed them. And I was like, what just happened?
Oh, I know what clip you're talking about. Yeah, I saw that like the Discord. That was pretty nuts. You ended up killing both of the tanks and like killed a bunch of people. Yeah. That was
It
pretty
was
good.
so scary.
I am
in
pretty
the
sure
moment.
that Zarya and that Reinhardt after that game, they quietly just exited the game, reevaluated their life choices.
Uninstalled.
Yeah, maybe not uninstalled, but they were like, you know what? I'm gonna go spend some quality time with my significant other. Maybe I should
I'm gonna
start
go walk
working
my
on
cat,
my
and I don't
dinner.
have a cat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was just a little thing that happened this week in Overwatch for me. But we can take a quick second to thank our new Patreons. We got 3 new Patreons this week. We got Razul W, we got Maikai, and we got Kevin K. Thanks you guys for joining on the lab crew. Glad to have you on the team.
Welcome, welcome.
And we have a update onto our platinum level sponsor, platinum level scientist. Please go check out Andres put together a little VOD review, submission guide. So if you want to do your VOD reviews, go check that out. And then we got an update for our sponsors. This is Omnic Lab is now officially sponsored by 2 diamond level patrons from our Patreon page. We got Rice Crispy holding down the fort as Chris C, and says that he would like to promote his 2 pieces of content, which is just his Twitch feed. You can find him over at RC Crispy or on Twitter at CrispyRCER. And then we also have Magic, who is on Twitter at a bit like Magic. There's no spaces or underscores. So you can go check our awesome patrons out. They are so humbly at the top level, supporting the show and helping us make this thing that much better and getting up to that next tier.
Yeah, awesome dudes. Thank you so much for contributing to the show. That is really cool. We know RC Crispy from our Discord. He is our admin. He also is over there a lot. He streams Overwatch and all that stuff. So thank you guys.
You guys are the champs. All right, Andres, let's talk World Cup. You're the only one of the 2 of us that was able to watch World Cup this weekend.
I have not watched all of it, but I watched at least the most important matches. I watched most of the semifinals and final, and most of the quarterfinals.
Spoiler alerts, guys.
Yes,
For
at this
warning.
point, we are going to do
Spoilers.
some spoiler alerts. So if you, for some reason, have not heard who won the World Championship and are waiting to just view it yourself, I suggest skipping this part or just going to watch that really quick and then tuning back onto us in a later date. But from here on out, we're going to talk about what happened in the World Cup. So here we go. Let's take it from the top. Freaking South Korea.
Holy buckets.
What the heck? Seriously.
Okay, you got to talk about the window Zarya ult real quick.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's advanced. This is the pinnacle of the discussion. But
Okay.
But basically, South Korea just steamrolled through the entire tournament. They
gave us the League of Legends treatment, man.
They showed how to play Overwatch for real.
That's how you play serious.
Like so far we had seen some awesome display from certain teams, and I would say that Russia even was kind of like the favorite to win the tournament with Shadowburn and that Genji, but freaking South Korea just did not even give him a map. It was really amazing to see them fight in that final. It was I don't know, it was just like a well-oiled machine, like some of their peers were describing it. They moved so precisely, and they never made a call that didn't get like immediately followed. It was so amazing just watching them encounter the enemy, just no time to breathe. They would pinpoint the strengths of the enemy team, and they would make sure to counter those and work around those. It was really amazing watching them play. Did you watch any of their games?
Not to mention, I was watching like some little clips here and there that people would share, but I still haven't gotten to see a full match. Like that's one of the things on the docket this coming weekend, because I had a volleyball tournament the day after round 1, and then Sunday my wife was really sick, so I had
sounds like a busy
schedule.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, but I did notice from all of the comments that I was receiving that South Korea aim is so good it looks like they're cheating. Like It's like freaking aimbot, and they don't miss. Like when you play Overwatch and you don't miss, it turns out you're pretty good.
No,
Don't miss a
absolutely.
shot.
You can tell that they've practiced their mechanics a lot. Like to them,
Yeah.
mechanics are no longer a impediment or like a handicap. Like I feel like a lot of players
It's not a factor.
yeah, a lot of players have like great strategic minds and know what the right play is to be. But when it comes down to like the mechanics, sometimes they're not able to execute because their muscle memory is not like that practice, or they just
They don't
haven't
have the
like played the game that much. You know what I
pool
mean?
of heroes.
It's like the
Yeah.
difference between watching, if you like soccer, it's like the difference between watching like an amateur soccer player and freaking Ronaldinho that has like full mastery over the ball and can do
Like
whatever the
watching an
hell.
MLS team play against Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like the way they would approach, the way they would move together, the way like when they would make a call, like the players would be like, okay, let's go, let's do it. And like they wouldn't miss the jump. They wouldn't,
Flawless execution.
exactly, flawless execution. Like if you needed like a McCree that could hit things, they had it. If you needed a Winston that could jump on top of people and never die, they had it. If you needed a Reaper, they had it. A lot of the other teams, what I've noticed is that they had very set strategies that were obviously their strongest strategy for certain maps. And
Right.
outside of that, some of them were able to switch a little bit, but it was not like a wide variety of switches. And you could see this especially with Russia, for example, which basically was just banking everything on Shadowburn's Genji and just nano boosting him and letting him rip through the enemy team. And it worked really well. Nobody could stop him until they got to South Korea, and he just could not do it. He was getting so hard countered by the enemy team
South
there.
Korea just said, "Lol, let's show you how to play Genji."
Yeah. I mean, how do you even their Genji wasn't as good. Like you could tell Shadowburn mechanically was better than their Genji, but as a team, they just knew that he was the problem. And whenever he would dash behind them, they would make sure to get rid of him right
Double
away.
down.
And like he could not breathe.
Yeah, I heard everything that you're saying in chats, in Twitter feeds, in little clips that I was watching here and there. South Korea, by the way, did not only win every single game from groups to the finals, but went undefeated without dropping a single game.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Yeah.
That is
I'm
accurate.
pretty sure that they didn't drop a single game.
Nope, they didn't.
And
Actually, they got goofy in a lot of the games because they knew they were so far ahead of their opponents. They just brought out nano boosted Symmetra, some Bastions. They were just having fun, honestly.
With you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of a recap, World Cup top 8 was Russia v France, Spain v Finland, South Korea v USA, RIP USA, China v Sweden, and then the top 4 was Russia v Spain, South Korea v Sweden, and then the finals was South Korea versus Russia, with South Korea going up to a quick 3-0.
Yeah.
But what I did here was the top 4 match, Russia v Spain, was absolutely bonkers. Andres, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think Russia versus Spain was really interesting to watch. I watched both of the semifinals, both South Korea, Sweden, and Russia versus Spain. Russia, to mention the other teams, it's a good thing too. Like South Korea did a great job, but the other teams also did a great display of skill, and some of the players like really like made themselves notice. Not only Shadowburn, but we had guys like Winghaven, and we had guys like Taimu, who also did like a fantastic job around the tournament. I would say that before we talk about the other teams, it's worth noting that South Korea was already a full team. Most of the other teams were pro players from the area that had to readjust and kind of like find some of the other players. Some of the professional teams that are established in Overwatch got broken up because of the region qualifications that you needed. And a lot of them ended up having to play with more unknown players or players that maybe were not used to playing so much in a competitive 6v6, everybody in a team,
Yeah.
but more solo queuers or players that are really good in the ladder, that sort of thing. So it is worth noting that in the actual world of competitive Overwatch outside of the world tournament, a lot of the pro teams can actually go toe to toe with South Korea once you gather talent from different areas. But just for this particular show match of the first World Championship, South Korea, I guess, got really lucky that their entire team was able to go over there.
It
as a
got
whole.
serious.
Yeah, it got really serious, but not to take away from the amazing stuff that they did. But yeah, the other teams also did really good, even with not being able to play on their team. I think Spain is really good. If you want to watch some awesome games, they did some awesome plays. Spain versus Russia was really close. I think that Spain went in a little confident, and they were thinking that they could really counter Shadowburn, and they were saying that they watch a lot of the VODs and they were just ready to do it. But even then, Shadowburn is like the squishiest Genji I've ever seen. Like, he would dash into the middle of them, and you could just see like 5 ults just flying against Shadowburn like right away. Like, we're not gonna let this guy do anything. And for some reason, he was just like squeaming between like all of them.
Nope.
Yeah, it was like, nope, I'm just gonna dodge every single of your ults and then kill you all.
So we can talk more about this as long as we possibly want, but I know there's a lot of listeners that don't listen to the show for esports and listen for the plays, they listen for the strategy. So I will say one thing about strategy here before we move on to some news, and then maybe Andres, if you want to have one more final wrap-up comment, you can go for that. I think that I am really excited for esports moving forward because of the ultimate changes on the PTR currently. If ultimates are going to be available much less frequently, these games are going to look very different, and you're going to even play heroes very differently for engages. And I can't overestimate how exciting this is going to make the game. It's going to make your skill matchups a little bit more different. It's going to make 1v1s more common. It's going to make slower engages. It might even make, speed and mobility heroes that much more valuable to have as an asset on your team, alongside of making dive comps maybe even more common, to dive on solo people that are just out of position and punishing them without having to worry about ultimates.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right now, nothing is said on the PTR. Also, they are releasing Sombra, so it seems like they really are making a move to de-emphasize certain ultimate abilities, certain shields, all of those passive abilities, and kind of emphasize a little more of the shooting each other, kind of killing just by shooting at each other, the traditional way, I would say.
Yeah.
But we'll see how far they take it, because I do think, and we'll discuss this a little later in the episode, Sombra is gonna take away a lot of the emphasis from that some of the teams are relying on the ultimates right now. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. You want to move on to the new arcade modes?
Let's do it. So we got arcade mode, which is essentially removing brawl and taking quick play and changing quick play. So essentially quick play is going to be basically a copy of competitive mode with hero limits, same type style of play, and it'll just be unranked. So it's kind of like ranked unranked instead of ranked in what the current quick play is. Then there is 5 different arcade modes, one of which is the all brawls 6v6 mode. So they have like popular brawls there. There is a 6v6 no limits, which is basically what quick play is right now. And then there's a 6v6 mystery heroes. So it's kind of just like, you don't know what you're going to get. You get selected a mystery hero and you can't change until your next death. And then when you die, it swaps your heroes. I think they did a brawl like this already.
Mm-hmm.
But these are just kind of like them giving you some more features. The real kicker is the next 3 features. So the next 3 features is that every arcade, if you go into arcade mode, any of these game types that you play, every 3 arcade wins, you get a loot box. And it'll cap at earning 3 loot boxes per week or 9 wins per week. Okay, so you can earn 3 loot boxes. That is going to be really helpful for people that really like to min-max their loot boxes or use their experience, whatever. And then we have two other features. We've got a 1v1 mystery duel. So it's a best of 9, and a random hero is selected, and then both players have to play that one hero. So let's just say randomly McCree gets selected. So Andres and I are going up against each other in mystery duel, and we both are playing McCree. First person to die loses. Then you go to the next round.
I like this scenario.
And it's all random. And then we go switch to Battle Mercy, and then I wreck Andres. And so it's 1-1, one-on-one.
We'll
and then we get
put
up against pretty much every other hero, and then I lose before we get to game 7. So that's kind of what the mystery duel is. And then you have another potentially expanded to competitive, like they're toying around the idea of using this in the competitive format, is a 3v3 elimination deathmatch. So this is a best of 5, 1 life per round, no respawns unless you get mercy rezzed. This sounds super freaking exciting.
Oh, for sure. Let's talk about these modes for a little bit. Okay. I know that the 6v6 stuff, the brawling stuff is for fun stuff. I think it's just been modes that they've been trying out, but I don't think any of them has really stuck. They're fun for a little bit, and that's about it. I am definitely super, super excited about the 1v1 and the 3v3 though. Those sounds like actually modes that could be really, really competitive in its own right, and just like a different way to experience Overwatch. Because there are those times that I've been just wanting to be like, oh man, I just want to duel. I just want to like fight somebody. And I've done that before to practice. Like you can go into a custom game.
It's great
and
practice.
Sometimes you increase the health or stuff. And especially if you can find somebody, for example, that is also really good at McCree, and you both go in there and just practice your McCreeing. It would be like, it's such good practice, and it's so exciting too, because it can get so competitive because it's just you versus the other person. And especially if it's the same hero on both sides, you're basically on equal terms. So at that point, it's like, hey, who can outplay the other guy based on movement, outsmarting, or just plain like outshooting? I don't know. There's so many ways you can win a 1v1 that is like really exciting, especially because everyone has their own style, their own strengths, their own weaknesses. And then it can also settle some scores. You know what I mean? If you're in that game and that one person is giving you some shit, you can always be
1v1
like, hey man,
bro.
you want a 1v1? So I'm down for that. I'm all down for like modes that can get really competitive like that. And the 3v3,
I really like the 3v3
yeah, the 3v3 also sounds super exciting. I know that there's already like 3v3 tournaments that people do on the side. If you go to like the competitive Overwatch Reddit, sometimes they do they sponsor this 3v3 tournaments during the week, and it seems like a great way, a more intimate way to experience Overwatch. And especially with that 1 life per round, no respawns, that seems like so exciting, right? Like your teammates die.
This is the kill potential.
Yeah,
this
and
is
you're
not
like,
objective based.
You're like left alone versus like the 3 of them. Both of your teammates are dead. They're looking at you, and then you, by some miracle, pull it off and you kill all the other enemy team. It's like just nuts. You know what I mean? Or just coming up with like
so
smaller
difficult to figure
teams.
out what to pick.
Yeah, that's a cool thing though, that like so many things could work depending on how you play them.
It's such an interesting game mode, and like best of 5, 1 life. That means like you don't have the wiggle room of picking something like counter picking when you get killed. Like you counter pick into the next round.
Yeah, no, you have to go with like you have to decide from the get go.
Yeah.
Lastly, and this is not included in the show notes, but they did mention it, and I think it's important because I think that is the direction that they're going with the arcade modes. I know that Jeff Kaplan is a super, super big fan of custom game modes made by the community, and he would love to be able to bring those kind of like custom game modes a little bit more to the light. I know that games on Blizzard before have done this, like Warcraft 3, where they have allowed people to create custom maps, and then they gave players a space inside of the game, a server search, basically, where you can see all of the custom games people have made, and basically the ones that are really popular start coming up to the top, And things like this
Same thing in
have
StarCraft.
yielded some of the most or the funnest games that have ever existed. If you guys don't know, League of Legends, for example, or Dota,
Yeah.
comes
Dota.
from Warcraft 3, from the original little custom game mode that people made in those server searches. And it just got so popular that it became a game in its own right. If you also didn't know, games like Team Fortress, and basically the reason Overwatch exists is because this exact same reason. Somebody a long time ago made a custom map where you could play as heroes with different abilities and called it Team Fortress, and it became super, super popular. And well, now we're here. So huge potential. I think arcade mode is kind of like the baby steps towards there, where now they've been doing kind of like custom games in-house and kind of releasing them as brawls, but they haven't really like given this tool to the community. But I think there is their way of expanding into this. What do you think?
Yeah, this is actually in the show notes. I put it under maps and news. I didn't really have a good spot for it. So, but yeah, they are looking into making custom games. I really enjoy this. I know that if anything and everything feels stale, I always check out custom modes. Like that's what a friend of mine did with me in college. Is we used to play a lot of dual StarCraft when StarCraft was really popular.
Yeah.
And StarCraft 2, sorry. And it ended up being like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday when we had off class, we would go back for like 2 hours and search for new custom games to go play. And it was a blast. I was like, I'm never going to play competitive again. This is way more fun. So, I mean, this is catering to casuals. This is catering to hardcores that want to see some kind of new thing in the game.
That's the beauty
of
this kind of thing, is especially if you give the players enough of the tools and enough customization options. Like basically you give the option to everyone to just play this game how they would like to play it, right? Like, hey, if you really hate these things about competitive, and you really hate these things about a quick play, and you would like to change all of that, guess what? You can make your own custom game that has all of the rules you've ever wished for, and then maybe you go in there and you realize that those rules are actually terrible and the game sucks, and now you realize why they don't do it that way. Or it could be the other way around. You can actually stumble into the most fun way to play Overwatch, and then you'll spark the new generation of games henceforth for the next 20 years.
Supports only. No. All right, so let's blast through some maps and news, because we don't have... These are the things that don't have the most information, and lots of people ask, like, I think you heard most of the questions for these. So we have Echo Point Antarctica as a new map coming. It is a small arcade-only map for 1v1 and 3v3 game mode, and it is a lore searcher's dream if you want to learn more stuff about May and where she comes from. This place looks really cool, by the way. So I'm really excited to get my grubby little hands in Antarctica and get a little frozen and check out the tundra there.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we have a new map coming for competitive that is a new King of the Hill, control, point capture, however you want to look at it. And it is called Oasis. This map is set in a Middle Eastern country and kind of looks like a desert with a really huge like casino / businessman hotel. And there's Omnic on the inside, and it looks amazing, by the way. And there is supposedly a jump pad in this map. Meaning, if you've ever played any Halo, and you have like the mega jump pads that you can go up like 3 floors, or you can get shot across the map on Big Team Battle, this is really exciting. You can have McCree's ulting and hitting the jump pad and looking down and getting a quadra kill or a sextuple kill like high noons. It's going to be really fun.
I am so excited for the jump pad. I love jump pads. I used to play a little bit of Unreal Tournament back in the day. I never got too much into it because I think it was like just before my generation where it was really big. I grew up more into like when Call of Duty was gaining a lot of strength. But yeah, like those jumps
Quake
that you can
players
do
are
in
gonna
that
love
real
this.
tournament, and yeah, any Quake players, like all that stuff is really fun. Can't wait to try it out. If it works out, it might actually be like a really cool feature that we might see added in more games in Overwatch.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the maps in general just look awesome, awesome. I'm super excited about the smaller map, Oasis, because like I said, one of my gripes is like sometimes some of the maps are really big when you're trying to do the 1v1 stuff. So just having a little smaller map that is a little more intimate, that you can find the encounters a little faster, that your respawns are not like an opposite ends, but are maybe more like, quick, fast
Mhm.
encounters. I'm all down for that, especially for a practice map. I've been wanting this for a long
Yeah.
time. So thank you for finally bringing it in.
Thanks
And
for Antarctica.
yeah, Antarctica looks awesome. And Oasis, dude, that map, like, just aesthetically, it looks so cool. Have you seen the floating robot
Oh man,
waiters?
they look so freaking boss. It's like Casino Royale. Like that's what the
Yeah,
first thing I thought of when I looked at this map. It
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
amazing. Like
No, it looks
007 with
really
a jump
cool.
pad.
Can't wait to try it out for sure.
All right, so the last little bits of news we have are there is an Oni Genji skin coming. And if you don't know what Oni means, Oni is basically a demon spirit in Japanese. And
Ooh.
oh man, the skin looks amazing. And you get the skin, you get an Oni spray and an Oni player icon for jumping into 15 games played in Heroes of the Storm.
Cue the
It's kind of like a little
QQ.
cross promo.
I was gonna say that a lot
Yeah,
of people were complaining about having to play the 15 games in Heroes of the Storm, and all I can say is, I mean, it's just a cross promotion. They're trying to promote their other games, and the skin looks badass. That's really
looks
cool.
bad.
I don't have a
Looks
problem with
awesome.
it. I like Heroes of the Storm. I played. I used to play it a lot back in the day. I don't play it as much now that Overwatch is kind of like filling that need. But yeah, I won't mind jumping into a little 15 games. If you guys are looking to group up and getting the Genji skin, I know there's a lot of people in our Discord that are also interested in that sort of thing. So if you don't have anybody to play with, or you've never played Heroes of the Storm and you're kind of like afraid to do that, I suggest popping in there and asking around if anybody would like to do a group. I believe this promotion starts on November 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it
And
goes.
extends through January 4th.
That's correct. So pretty much at the end of next week, this is when it's gonna start going. So you kind of have a week to gather up your teammates or install Heroes of the Storm. If you haven't done so, maybe learn a little bit about the meta. I know that I'm trying to relearn the meta a little bit because I'm super rusty. I don't know who's good anymore. I jumped into a game the
Yeah,
other
me
day and
either.
I picked one guy and I got yelled at. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's not good anymore.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, that community is a whole nother animal.
yeah, I feel it's not as bad as League of Legends though.
No, not at all.
But it still
Thank
carries a
God.
little
'Cause
bit of the legacy. I feel like a lot of like kind of like the same player base. It kind of like spawns back and forth. So I don't
yeah.
know. I do think that I was gonna mention this earlier, and it's a little bit off topic, but the Overwatch community compared to like League of Legends or some of the MOBA stuff is it's actually pretty good.
It's a little bit more tame, but I feel like your experience up in the diamond and upper platinum level is going to be drastically different than folks like me who are sitting playing with silvers or like mid to low tier
Or
gold
you're
players
right. I
that
should
just
not
literally quit the
generalize.
match
There's
after
still
30
some
seconds.
toxicity going around.
Yeah, it's just a matter of pockets of where they're at. So then we have Overwatch PvE content is being thought about internally since Junkenstein's Revenge was such a huge hit. They're really wanting to revisit and do some more PvE stuff, but not sure what to do next. But they're looking at it. They're also looking to integrate some more tools to aid and fight against the toxic community. Speaking of
Oh, yeah.
Andres's
Yeah,
comment,
there you go.
as well as they're in the works to address a little bit more of the punishes for leavers and how they're going to change maybe the competitive punishment for leaving games. And then the last big bit of news is the official announcement of Overwatch League. So
Oh
Overwatch
man.
League is essentially its own professional organizations, just like the Major League Baseball or Major League or National Hockey League or the National Basketball Association. Like
I
that's
wanna
Overwatch League.
I want to take it a little bit further, and I want to say they're trying to aim to be more like FIFA from soccer.
Yeah, this is
a
like FIFA for
like a
gaming
global initiative. Basically is an organized, or basically is the organization of esports around Overwatch. They basically want to create a system around the world that can bring up the best players in an environment where they can thrive, right? We're not talking about exploitation of gamers or
This is
anything like that.
LCS.
Yeah, but this is like, hey, let's make this legitimate for gamers. If people want to be a professional at this, let's make this happen. If you are that good at our game and you want to dedicate years of your life to playing our game, we're gonna pay you a salary, we're gonna give you benefits, and we're gonna make sure you succeed, kind of like traditional sports have done for a long time for their athletes and the people aspiring for this. And to be completely honest, as an industry as a whole, the people who are creating this game and who want to see this succeed, this is exactly what they need to do. If they are able to succeed with the Overwatch League and establish it, and honestly, I have a lot of faith that this is going to be very successful. It's going to be a new beginning for video games where they might actually start looking like traditional sports. Like they're going to be a respected profession. Players who play these games are going to be well-known, almost, I don't want to say celebrities, but just kind of like public figures, I guess.
Yeah, it's really similar to what LCS is doing. Like for League of Legends, you have the EU scene, you have the NA scene, you have the China scene, you have the Korea scene, and the Asia Pacific, and then you have like others like South America, etc. Like it's really nuts. People can buy teams. You can actually get noticed through getting in top 500 finishes and doing some sort of scrims or tryouts, like getting contracts from sponsors. It's really, really cool. There's still a lot of details like that you have to go check out outside of our show. And yet there is still a lot of information that we don't know yet. It's just like a big announcement.
I was going to say that too. There's still, hold your horses still. Like I said, I have a lot of faith in this, but there are still a lot of details that we need to listen to before we jump the gun on this. But I'm just really excited that they're actually doing something like this. And I knew that they were going to push esports with Overwatch somehow, but I honestly didn't expect it was going to be on this magnitude. Like they're going all out with this. And the thing that I like the most too is that it's regional.
Yeah, they went at this scope so quickly after launch. I think that's the big stunning factor, right? It's not so much that they got to this point, it's rather they got to this point within the first year of launch is undeniable like accomplishment, right?
And the craziest
fact that they can
thing,
announce something like this.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing is that their chances of success with this are actually really high. There's not a lot of things in their way right now. Like people want it, they have the money, they have the technological infrastructure to pull it off. Is like they're just in a really good position to make this happen.
Esports is on the cusp of being the most accepted thing like each year. Like esports is growing drastically globally, not just in
pop
Overwatch.
Culture, exactly. Like people accept it. People want it, right? People want to be gamers and people want this to be accepted.
Nerds are killing the athletes these days.
And honestly, I don't think games are gonna be in direct competition with sports. But I do think that this sort of thing is in direct competition with entertainment outlets like traditional TV and stuff, and those guys better watch out. I think that those guys better adapt fast. I think sports will be fine for a long time to come. There's not gonna be a diminishing of interest in watching how we can take our humankind to the peak of our physical ability, as well as how we can take humankind to the peak of our strategic and mental ability, like we do with video games sometimes. So I think there's just different explorations of our innate abilities. So nobody's going anywhere, but watch out, traditional TV. You guys should better change some things quick.
So now that we're nearly at the 40-minute mark of the show, I think it's time to talk about some Sombra.
Let's
So
do it.
let's talk about one of the coolest things that happened at BlizzCon, which was the final culmination of everyone's rage about when is Sombra coming in, and Sombra confirmed, like, memes are finally realized. So Sombra is the new offense hero coming to Overwatch. Sombra has 200 health, no shields, no armor, just health. And we'll go through a quick pass over the abilities, and then we'll kind of talk about more of the impact. We're going to cover our thoughts of what we've seen so far, what happens with hack and EMP before it hits PTR, and then kind of what we're thinking counterplay wise immediately. Okay. So I know that you've probably seen a gazillion videos. You got the virtual ticket. You're like, I know what the heck Sombra does, so why are they talking about it? Well, it's because everyone and their mother that's a content creator asked you. So basically,
we were obliged. Like when we signed into podcasting, there was when Sombra comes out, you have to talk about her. It was in the fine print.
Yeah. So sorry, not sorry. All right. So we have passive. The passive is called Opportunist. It means all enemies 50% health or less. You can see a wall hack. This is similar to Sonic Arrow or Widow's Ultimate, and you can see people through walls if their health is 50% or less.
OP.
Oh snap! Permanent Sonic Arrow if you got punished. Amazing. This is not to be underestimated, I must add. This is really great for how mobile she is, and we'll get there. But primary fire is a machine pistol. It's basically an Uzi with 60 rounds. If you want to understand kind of more of the ins and outs, you can go check out more of a detailed analysis on this. But
I would say just imagine
as well. But
imagine Soldier's gun mixed with Tracer. It's like a hybrid of both.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the effective range of Soldier, but the spread of Tracer. And the reload time is kind of normalized. Then you have her first alternate fire, which is her first ability, is called Hack. So, a hacker having the hack ability. Interesting. So this is about a 1.5 to 2 second cast channeled ability with a 9 to 10 meter range and a 12-second cooldown. Basically, this ability cancels the use of all abilities and interrupts the current ability that is being used for 6 full seconds. Now, there's a lot, there's so many things that this has exceptions to and changes of, so you have to kind of pay attention as we go through, but that's kind of the gist of what this does.
I think right now everyone's trying to figure out exactly what are all these specifics. So we're not gonna talk about a little bit about two specifics, but basically that's kind of the general gist of it. Yeah,
this you can hit because it only has a 12-second cooldown. You can use this quite frequently. And if you use this on a hero, you can use this on other things besides heroes, like turrets. So you can disable Torbjorn turrets with this for a few seconds. You can also not hack through a shield. So if Reinhardt's shield is up and you're facing him, you can't hack him. You need to be able to get behind him and hack him and be able to channel it for the full duration. If you take damage during channeling for that 2-second window, it's canceled. So you have to try again. And then you can also control health packs for a full minute, and the health packs respawn 3 times as fast as they normally do, and they do not allow enemies to use the health. So this is really great for Koth maps. And it looks like if you're looking for ultimates that are good to maybe hack mid ultimate, if you can get it off in time, good ones would be like Roadhog, Whole Hog, or McCree Deadeye. You can interrupt those before they can get them off.
Yeah, I think mostly all of the channeled ults you'll be able to hack, but things like Winston Ultimate, I doubt that you'll be able to hack that. I don't know, they probably will explain as well, it's not like he doesn't transform or anything, he just gets angry. So, can't really hack that.
Exactly.
I think this ability is really insane. It's basically like Overwatch version of Silence, and the opportunities you can open up with this are really insane, right? Like if you're on the attacking side and
6 full seconds.
yeah, you're getting ready to attack and you just send Sombra to the back and you're like, hey man, just throw a silence on that Anna or throw a silence on that Mercy or Lucio, any of their supports.
Right.
Just throw a silence on them before we engage. It's like, whoop, taking out of the thing. Or any of the heroes that might be a lot of a hassle because they're doing a lot with their abilities during the fight, just like silence it beforehand and then engaging. Or as you're engaging, just like you're invisible, so you can just walk behind them and still silence them from behind. Or just the ability to pick an area where you want to create kind of like your main hub of attack for the team, hack that health pack, make sure that your team takes over that area.
Could be a zoning tool.
Yeah, and just like zone people out from there and kind of like control everyone, or even like sneaking in behind their backline and hacking the health pack that like their support or their backliner is gonna go search once he gets in trouble, and then once he gets back there, just to realize like, oh shit, I can't take the health pack, and you just kind of like shoot him easily, or your tracer is able to like chase him down easily. Seems like
So speaking of getting to the back line, speaking of getting to the back line, Andres, how do you get to the back line with the next two abilities here?
Sure. So Sombra has very interesting abilities, especially for a stealth hero. Like we're so used to seeing stealth heroes that are just kind of like bursty, like they pop behind you, they burst you, and then kind of like walk away.
Like assassin-y.
Yeah, and thank God they didn't do Sombra like this. Instead, they gave her tons of movement abilities. The first one, your E, is the Translocator. You basically toss a beacon that looks a lot like Winston's shield before it pops out, and you can reactivate it to teleport to that beacon anytime after. I think the beacon lasts for 15 seconds and it cannot be destroyed, so you can be safe assured that where you throw the beacon, you'll be fine. And then you have about 15 seconds. So it's basically like a recall from Tracer that doesn't heal you up, but takes
you can put a region on it.
Yeah, but basically you choose the location where you get teleported back. Really, really awesome. Can take you out of like really squishy situations, especially before you go into the battlefield and try to hack somebody. You can throw the Translocator into a safe health pack room or something. Just go in, hack somebody, teleport back, take your health pack, and you're good to go.
And you can do this mid-air.
Yeah, you can also do this mid-air. They mentioned that when you throw the Translocator, just imagine kind of like Tracer's pulse bomb, but with a huge range, kind of like Anna's bomb. And you can just throw that,
grenade,
and wherever it is, if it's midair or whatever, you can activate it and it will teleport midair. So I'm pretty sure that players are going to come up with some crazy ways of using this.
Mobility is insane. It's insane.
Pretty insane. You can basically
aggressive,
get up anywhere.
Defensive, zoning, whatever you want.
And then her second ability, her shift ability, is thermoptic camo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I guess it's a fusion of thermo and optic.
Yeah, oh my God. They're really looking for a new name there. All right, but basically this turns Sombra invisible. It has a 6-second cooldown after the stealth is broken, so you can't reload it as you're stealthed. You basically have to wait to come out of stealth, and then the cooldown starts. It has, we think it has an 8-second duration. I don't think we've confirmed this, right?
Yeah, I didn't see any hard numbers on the duration, so we're kind of guessing here.
We don't even know if it has a duration,
to time it.
So we'll see. And then
it definitely has a duration, but yeah.
Okay, cool. But number is not confirmed. And you can use your abilities during it, like the teleport. You can teleport back. Your movement speed is increased a little bit while you're stealth. You run at 200% speed, so actually quite a significant increase. You can get places really fast while you're stealthed. Gap closer kind of thing. Also, any splash damage or random damage that gets done to you from anywhere will break the stealth. So you have to be very aware of this. If you're playing against an enemy Sombra and she uses her hack EMP, which we are going to talk about in a little bit, you will also be taking out of stealth. So basically, any enemy ability that can in kind of interact with you when you're stealth will throw you out of stealth.
Yep. And the other thing that I forgot to put here in the Translocator is Diva's Matrix can actually eat this, the Translocator. So if you happen to throw it and a Diva's there using Defense Matrix, it'll shoot it down. I think that's the only thing that'll actually take the Translocator out.
That's probably good to know.
It has to be mid-toss.
Cool. A couple other things to know about the thermotic camo before we move on. Soldier's Tactical Visor can actually detect Sombra. So that is kind of like a great counter if you have it on and you suspect that Sombra is around and you want to get rid of her. You can use that. And we believe that Sonic Arrow and Widow Ultimate, and even the Opportunist talent from Sombra, if you're playing against an enemy Sombra, should be able to detect you as well, even if you're invisible. So still needs confirmation of that, but one thing to keep in mind.
All right. And the last ability is her ultimate called the EMP. This is basically a large or semi-large area of effect. We still don't have any meter ranges on this. My guess is it's somewhere around the May ultimate from some of the gameplay I was seeing, so about 8 meter radius. And the windup is really fast for this, by the way. I think it's even faster than the throw and activation from May. But basically, in an area of effect that obeys line of sight, it will hack every enemy in sight. So it's like you use your hack on everybody in that area, and it will destroy all shields within the explosion radius. So what kind of shields are we talking? We are talking health bar shields. We're talking Lucio shields that he gives through the break it down sound barrier. We're talking Reinhardt shields. We're talking Zarya shields. I mean, we're even talking Winston bubbles. So you lose everything.
We are completely sure that he gets rid of health bar shields.
Health bar shields. So Zenyatta's health is a shield.
insane.
That's gone. That means the shields that you get from Lucio's sound barrier, all of that stuff that's massively decaying, if he uses that and then you EMP him, poof, goodbye sound barrier.
I'm thinking more about Zarya too, like half her health, if not more, is shields.
If you can anticipate this, or you know a Zarya, or you're playing Zarya and you know a Sombra is going to EMP you, you can bubble this. So I have checked this, that if you have bubble up on you or another target, it will obey the same rules that bubble says, which means if the bubble is to take the full 200 damage, like from Diva Ultimate, for example, it will only destroy the barrier, and then it will not affect, any barrier damage.
That seems like such a hard counter to Zarya, though. You just wait till her shield is down, then you EMP, and you immediately take away half of her health and all of her shielding abilities. Oh my god. I almost feel sorry for her.
I'm really glad that you can counterplay a little bit with this, but from what I saw, it looked even like not only does it remove Zarya's barrier, but it actually gives Zarya the full charge that she earns for taking damage, as if it took damage. So you have to be a little careful with this, but again, Zarya's shield, if it's down, maybe you light her up a little bit from the back lines and you stay stealth until you know it's down, and then you EMP. That's a free what, 200 damage?
Yeah, basically.
Zarya have 400 health?
I think so.
Or does she have 600 health?
I think it's 400.
But half of her health bar is shield, so it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. And she won't be able to shield from that point on, right? Because her abilities are down for 6 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that bonkers?
So I don't know. Like, to me, this seems like super, super powerful. I need to see it in play. Like, also, how long does it take to reload and stuff? But it's definitely the ability that I see changing the meta the most. Like, this thing is so insane and basically counters almost all of the popular strategies that are going on right now. Or I don't.
Countering sound barrier is the best.
It still remains to be seen, but I don't know. Just being able to hack before you engage the battle, so you make sure that Zenyatta doesn't ult, or that they don't have any counters to
They
it.
die.
Seems so good. Still remains to be seen. It might require more coordination initially than I'm thinking from your team and from you, since it does have like a range, and you do have to be in the middle of the team. Maybe people were gonna have to adapt to it. Maybe spreading out when they suspect that Sombra might have an EMP, kind of like be in groups of two and kind of like sit around in different parts so you can get EMP'd. I don't know, but I think that is definitely gonna change the meta because it's so powerful. People are just gonna have to play around it.
Yeah, and like the channeled ultimates, like we talked about, like this is where we're gonna get into our hack and EMP discussion. We're just gonna segue right into it. Like we already said it's gonna destroy Lucio, right? Like boom, goodbye Lucio sound barrier.
One thing we didn't say is it locks him into the current song. So if you EMP on Lucio, he won't be able to change songs after that. So you can use it to your advantage. If you see he's speed boosting and you don't want him to heal, you can maybe hack him right then and there and be like, oh, can't heal your allies anymore. We have a free 6 seconds to go and deal a ton of damage. They don't have AoE heal. So big thing against Lucio there, especially because he's so squishy sometimes when he's healing and moving around.
Can be.
Yeah, so that can be also good for getting rid of him. What else do we know about hacking?
Well, this is something that I was actually pretty pumped about, but again, I only saw this for like a split second on somebody playing it at BlizzCon, but I did notice that when he used hack on a Mercy, she still was able to use her primary and secondary beams, but I couldn't see if she was disabled for jumping with Guardian Angel passive or not.
I did hear in the Q&A that it should not remove movement abilities. I don't know if this includes the Guardian Angel, although they did say that they explore the possibility of maybe disabling some of the mechanical stuff, kind of like Farah's rocket or Genji's double jump, Mercy's Guardian Angel. But I want to say that this is not part of EMP or hack right now. But what I do guess would be her self heal. I'm guessing that when you hack her, she loses that self heal.
Yeah, the other thing that hack does that I forgot to mention as well as EMP, because the hack is innate into what happens after EMP, is that you will see a little icon for the next it'll actually last longer than 6 seconds. I want to say it's even close to 15 to 30 seconds, but you can actually see a little icon check mark above that hero that you've hacked to see when their ultimate is available and what their health bar is, like permanently. So for not permanently, for that duration. So I thought that was really interesting that you can kind of monitor where somebody is if you hack them, and what their health bar looks like if their ultimate's ready. That is
so good. Like that is such the flavor of a hacker. Not only like disable some of your stuff, but gather information. Yeah, and like right now, one of the biggest things of hidden information is ultimates, right? Like teams have to kind of guess they just by how the game has gone out, like, okay, Genji probably has ultimate, or Zarya has probably ultimate by now, and then play around it like that. But if you can just have Sombra go around and like literally tell you, no, he is 70% to ultimate, or no, he doesn't have ultimate for this battle, like that right there gives you so much information. Like, okay, we definitely don't have to count on this ultimate. We can actually be aggressive with our ultimate over here because they don't have that. So that part I think is really, really cool. Or even just EMPing everyone and hacking. I wonder if your team can actually see ultimates and stuff at that point too.
Oh, or if it's just exclusive to Sombra.
Yeah,
that could
like Discord orb. Like you can see the Discord target as Zenyatta, but your team can't really see it.
Right.
That would be interesting to know. Purple. Yeah, because if your entire team gets access to this information on the spot, that would be really good.
Yeah, my guess is probably not, based off of everything that we've seen so far. With
Sombra would have to be the shot caller at that point.
Yeah. But I will say this, that like I think hack is amazing against more targets than hack is really good against specific targets. For example, hacking a Mei can essentially destroy her entire ability to stall. Hacking Lucio can potentially be helpful. Hacking a Genji removes his ability to dash out, which can be really good, especially since that ability has a reset on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually hack. What's the other tank I'm thinking of? You can hack Roadhog away from not using his hook, or McCree from using his flashbang. Soldier from using biotic field. Zarya from shielding herself or allies. Like, there's so many things that you can do.
That's so scary. Has been McCree and getting your flashbang hacked. I would feel so naked.
Recall
and
for
vulnerable.
Tracer.
Yeah.
Now I will say that there is lots of counterplay though, right? Andres, like we can probably segue into that.
Yeah, I would say, okay, here are my takes on what Sombra is gonna struggle with. I think characters like Winston, for example, are gonna be really good against her. One, because he does a big range of AoE in front of him. So if he suspects there's a Sombra nearby, he can kind of just spam his thing and kind of like go looking. And with his jump, and basically everything that Winston does is AoE damage. So great for kind of like scanning her for Sombra. And even if she throws her Translocator, if you are able to catch a glimpse of where she's teleporting, you can just jump and kind of catch her and just chase her. Bring her out of stealth, and I don't think that she's gonna have like enough burst damage to get rid of a Winston, especially if he has his shield up before he can get rid of her, or at least just drive her away. I also think characters,
stronger counters.
Yeah, like Soldier might be really good against her, especially because your ult can actually kill her while she's invisible, and you also have, a big clip and a big range, so as well, you can kind of like do the Winston thing where you're just kind of like shooting at different areas, trying to bring her out. And your Helix rocket actually has a pretty decent AoE damage. So, if you know the general area where she became invisible, you can probably like pop her out right away as she is running away. Those are kind of like my two takes on it. Maybe really mobile heroes like Tracer or Genji that can really stay on top of her after she teleports. As long as they know where the thing is, could be useful.
I think she's also a really tough counter for Reapers, because she can basically get them from Wraith walking onto the health pack. She can just hack the health pack before they can hit it.
Yeah, especially all of the heroes that rely on the back alleys. Yeah, like you said, Reaper, even sometimes McCree, that you kind of want to be on cover and get your little health pack every here and there. Those can be really, really vulnerable to Sombra. Anyone who walks alone, I think, can be really vulnerable to Sombra, because then you're risking the possibility of her scouting you out, revealing your position, hacking you, and then maybe getting some aid from the players. Like, she can hack you, start pouncing on you, and then as you're trying to run away with no abilities, the rest of her team comes and gets rid of you. So I think heroes that tend to go solo a lot are going to be very vulnerable to Sombra attacks.
I think some of the better characters against Sombra might be if she's unable to get to your location, or unable to or if Sombra doesn't want to commit her mobility use to getting to your position on like Hanzo or Widow. I think they can be really helpful in zoning, because obviously Hanzo has the Sonic arrow, Widow has the ultimate, and then you have Junkrat, who has a lot of really good tools of area of effect, choke spamming, and even a trap that can get you out of stealth and reveal you. I think that could be really good. And then last is Farah. Like, the Farah Mercy combo seems really crazy because, again, like you were saying, Andres, it's lots of splash. You're kind of just permanently out of range of Sombra. Like, you're almost always going to be 9 to 10 meters away, if not further, from when you're shooting. So if you can't get hacked, then you're kind of immune to a lot of the issues that she's gonna be doing
that's a super valid strategy that a lot of people use right now, and a lot of the counters that we know right now are natural counters because you can outrange certain things. Like, we know Farah's great against Junkrat simply because if you play it right, you can always outrange all of his attacks, and there's just no way he can kill you while you can still kill him. So same with Sombra. If you can use the Farah Mercy to out Ranger, and we know that her range is decent, but it has a lot of spread. So you're not a reliable long range killer with her. I feel like she's more of a medium range. I imagine her effective range being more around where McCree is, just because of the wide spread.
Yeah.
She's not as precise as Soldier. So like you said, the Mercy Farah combo up in the sky can be good, especially because the grenades or the rockets Farah shoots also do AoE. So again, another thing that can help you reveal her and kill overextended Sombras like that. So yeah, I guess it just remains to be seen, like, what is up. Like you said, Diva is the only one that can counter her teleporter or translocator with the Matrix. Other than that, you can't really kill it, and it's invulnerable. And yeah, I think that covers most of the counters that we can think of right now.
Check her out.
Yeah, I'm really hyped too. Actually, this hero looks really entertaining.
She... not to underestimate like the ability of counterplay, like Sombra is still going to be freaking busted. Like, and the one thing that I want to say is like a caveat at the end of the discussion, she's going to PTR, which means that a lot of these things that are current are very much subject to change. So maybe the clip size gets changed. I heard a lot of people saying, man, the clip size seems really big, like 60 shots. And, Tracer only has this many, and it's kind of the range of Soldier. It seems really busted regardless. Or your 200% increased speed, while stealth seems a little crazy, like to give you on top of having stealth.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's all these people's opinions, and, ultimately we haven't played it yet. And there's only that limited amount of people testing it at BlizzCon, plus the internal testing. So I'm really curious to see how this feels. And then I also want to know, what is the effective mechanical range of skill that you can get? Obviously, this is a high skill cap hero. So people at Diamond are going to do some serious damage with her and above. But what does this look like for players that are like, at my skill level at gold or even below gold, around, silver or bronze? What are they going to do with a hero that's crazy like this? I mean, you've seen some pretty bad Genjis out there, but like, I feel like Sombra's going to be even more polarizing.
We'll really see how it works out, because like I said, she's not a bursty assassin, and I think that's kind of like the character that tends to be overpowered at lower levels when you can go invisible, burst somebody down and walk away. But she's not like this. She's more of a tactical information gathering, and like you said, people at the higher levels are not only going to be able to deal a lot of damage with her, but are also going to be able to make really tactical decisions that can inform your team of a lot of things. Really, really good for them. And I eventually her playstyle will trickle down, but I do think that her kit is best used in unison with your team. She's not a solo killer. She's not a hero that will warp the battle just on her own. She can do a lot, but it's kind of like Zarya and her Graviton. Like when you throw it, you kind of want at least one other hero there with you, or it might not be very effective. So that's kind of how I picture a lot of her abilities. When you use them, you really want at least one more person there to help you capitalize.
Yep, I would 100% agree to that. And if you guys want to know any more of this stuff, they have updated their website. You can go directly to their website. There are 3 new introductory videos for Sombra. There's an infiltration video that they made for like a little story. They have like a cool little short background origin story, and then they have like the abilities. So you can check those out. You can check out the Overwatch League video, and then special thanks to Force Gaming and Unit Lost for their videos that I was able to utilize this week for the show prep, new game modes and etc. Those links are in our references. And last, we'd like to thank our iTunes reviewer, Greco507 this week. Thanks for your awesome iTunes review that basically just says thanks for the console episode. So we really appreciate your review. If you guys want to leave us an iTunes review, it helps the show get some more visibility. It helps our ratings as people try to find us in the search. And also, it boosts our ego. So if you guys want to do that,
more importantly, it boosts our ego. No, but it is really nice reading from you guys and seeing what you guys have to say. Yeah. And like Rob said, it helps the show a lot. So thank you.
That's right. That's right. All right. So if you guys are interested on us finding in the show, You can find us on Twitter and Facebook with the tag Omnic Lab. You can find our Discord, which is a happening community. Let me tell you what, if you're looking to group up, it's on console or on PC. We're at discord.me/Omnic Lab in your browsers. You can find it there. And we're on iTunes. We're on Google Play Music. If you guys want to go support the show on Patreon with a little tip service, we kind of changed some things around. Quick little update for you guys on Patreon. Please go check. Make sure you have it all set and you're squared away for this month. We kind of have that new change that we just rolled out. And that's over at Omnic Lab on Patreon and on YouTube and on Twitch. We are streaming. We're trying to stream, I think, now on Sunday, Monday is kind of our new times, right, Andres?
Yeah, it keeps changing a little bit. I wish it was a little more steady so that you guys just would know for a fact, like when we stream for sure. But the thing is, sometimes between Japan and the US, and especially daylight savings and all this stuff going around, it's just so hard to just pick once a time and do it always. So always expect like Sunday or Monday mornings. I would say this has been like our most reliable times.
Yeah.
If you live
on
the West Coast, though, I feel really sorry for you because that's like 6 in the morning for you. So if you don't wake up to watch us at that time, I do not blame you.
Yeah, you can always check the live stream that we've recorded. We'll usually export those to YouTube within 24 to 48 hours of the recording time. And if you guys would like to check out our website, you can see the more extended show notes there. And then if you want to see the super detailed show notes, you can go over to the full extended show notes link on the website over at omniclab.com. That's it for the show, guys. Andres, where can people find you on the interweb?
If you want to personally find me and see what I'm up to, you can always find me on Twitter at iPlayGames. You spell that IPLAI Games. You can also find me on Twitch in the same channel, Twitch TV/Omnic Lab. Some streaming with the team, mainly when there's events and all that stuff. I like to stream a lot. Hopefully, at the end of this year, I'll be able to upgrade my graphics card and get a new monitor so that I actually can start streaming more in the regular without my computer kind of like busting over here. But anyway, you can find me there. And you can also find my Hearthstone podcast, Coin Concede, over at coinconcede.com. Check that out if you're into Hearthstone.
And you can find me over at Twitter with the tag NotRob. That's kind of my tag for everything. So if you're trying to find me on certain places, you can go check that out. Just like that, you can go over to plays.tv/u/NotRob. I uploaded a couple crazy games this week. Like the Mercy thing I said at the top of the show, I uploaded the full version of that game. So you can see a 4-3 victory on the very last point with some of our admin that played with me and moderators. It was a nuts game. So I try to do stuff there since I can't stream. I'll post some highlights. And then if you want to check out my Hearthstone podcast that is always competing with Andres just for fun, you can see our Velen's Chosen at velenschosen.com. We talk. I actually missed this show because of daylight savings time and BlizzCon, believe it or not. So my opinions were all pre-recorded for our show. So you guys can go check that one out over at velenschosen.com. That's it from episode number 28. Thanks for tuning in with us and being patient with us as we are trying to figure out our own opinions on Sombra, as you guys are certainly itching to play her as well. So remember, you guys are Omnic, so be very careful against that hacking out there, all right? So don't be a lab rat, be a scientist. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
I have nothing more to teach